Hey, did you know there's a sign at the state capitol that says that Louisiana keeps hospitalization, social welfare, and education at the bottom of its list of priorities? Did you know that? Did you? Did you? I bet you didn't. So what I did was I took a picture of the sign, several pictures, and I threw them together in this YouTube video so that people would know and believe me, and I hope that they would do something about the fucking sign, even if it's just voting for somebody. So before we get started, let me get you familiar with a few definitions, just like three, and then I'll proceed with proving that the sign is there, exists, and mean what it says it means. Okay, here we go. Probably should, yeah. Alright, I'm looking for the definition of dunce. It's right below Duncan Fife. There you go. Dunce, duns, a noun, after John Duns Scottish. His followers, called dunsmen, dunces, called dunsmen, dunces, were regarded as foes of Renaissance humanism. 1. A dull, ignorant person. 2. A person slow at learning. Dunce cap, a cone-shaped hat that children slow at learning were formerly forced to wear. I have to do this over again, but I'm not. Fuck it. Renaissance, right there below Remus. Except I'm actually not looking for Renaissance, I'm just looking for the Renaissance. Anyway, Renaissance, the Renaissance. The great revival of art, literature, and learning in Europe in the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries based on classical sources. It began in Italy and spread gradually to other countries and marked the transition from the medieval world to the modern. 2. The period of this revival. Humanism. 1. The quality of being human. Human nature. 2. Any system of thought or action based on the nature, interests, and ideals of man. Specifically, a modern non-theistic rationalist movement that holds that man is capable of self-fulfillment, ethical conduct, etc. without recourse to supernaturalism. 3. The study of the humanities. 4. The intellectual and cultural secular movement that stemmed from the study of classical literature and culture during the Middle Ages and was one of the factors giving rise to the Renaissance. The title of this movie is actually Capitol View Place. Capitol View Place. Capitol View Place is actually a neighborhood close by the state capitol and the state capitol area complex, whatever the fuck they call it for real. Oops. Anyway, the name suggests that this place, Capitol View Place, would be a good place to view the Capitol, but it's actually not. Let's show you why. There are a number of trees. See you see it? There are too many trees in the way. And as you move deeper into the neighborhood, the Capitol actually becomes more and more obscured by the fucking trees until you get to like here. Now, if you're one of the super rich people who have a good view, I'm pretty sure it costs, more for your house. But the regular people on the other side of the street, shitty ass view. Anyway, see? Look what I did. I went to state capitol and I zoomed in on the sign. Okay, so that's the sign, but a fucking 18-wheeler was driving by when I took the picture. But if you see it, see the little pineapple thing? Yeah, I know, I'm good. Anyway, so this is what the state capitol looks like from the front. Also, it's big. Pretty big. Like 450 feet tall. Anyway, so this isn't really the best view, or like there's a garden and stuff, but I don't think that this was the intended view. I think this was the side that everyone was supposed to see. But let's get closer. So I zoom into the water. Alright. Yeah, this is what you're supposed to see. I'm not gonna go into why this is the best view of the Capitol right now because it's kind of inappropriate to do it right now. But I want the people who also know why to know that I know why. Anyway, so let's get back to that sign. Alright, this is state capitol. This is what it looks like when you come up close to it. Now, these things have the statues, the reliefs, and the archway covering the door have a lot of symbolism built into them. And I'm gonna talk about that stuff as soon as I get back. Well, you know what? I'm gonna okay. So, see the stairs? The stairs have every single state listed in the order that they were admitted to the Union. Starting at the bottom at the earliest state, and then the top stair has Alaska, Hawaii on the sides because they were added later, and then E pluribus something. So what is it? Some shit. Anyway, probably doesn't mean anything at all. Probably E pluribus unum or whatever doesn't mean anything, or it's probably just some stupid thing that should be totally disregarded. Anyway, this statue is of a woman. I'm guessing it's supposed to be someone like the Spirit or like the Mother Teresa or the Garden of Louisiana. Anyway, she's praying for the early explorers of Louisiana. That's a Bible with some mysterious hands holding it. So yeah, that's that statue. But the state is praying for the inhabitants. Or that's what the statue is supposed to symbolize. Just like this statue is supposed to symbolize the larger man, the state, defending the cares and concerns of the smaller people. That's why they're surrounding and clinging to him like that. See? Now, alright, this picture is of okay, the 6 figures above the door, I think they're women. The Indians, I'm not so much sure if they're women, but they also have flags underneath them. I'm not sure. I was gonna say the 6 flags, but I'm not sure if the Indians actually had like real flags. So let's just look at what the banners that they're carrying or associated with. See, these first 2 is the Indian and the Spanish. Also, the people are bringing things. I'm thinking that's supposed to be what they're bringing, but all I see is a basket from Indian people. So I guess the Indian people didn't bring nothing. I don't know. That's probably what it means. Probably. Spanish people bought, I guess, a ship, and I hope that's the Cabrillo or Cabria, whatever the frick is called. That was back in New Orleans, like way back when or something. You gotta go to the museum and start looking up at some of this stuff, people. Anyway, America brought leaves and arrows. The Confederacy brought cotton. The French brought, I'm thinking, fleur-de-lis and Napoleonic law. And Indians bought tobacco. That's tobacco. So that's what everybody brought. And all right, on either side of the doorway, you have these 2. Well, I believe it's one passage, but they split it up. But who knows? We have lived. It reads rather. We have lived long, but this is the noblest work of our whole lives. It will transform vast solitudes into thriving districts. The United States take rank this day among the first powers of the earth. The instruments which we have just signed will cause no tears to be shed. They prepare ages of happiness for innumerable generations of human creatures. Robert R. Livingston, May 3rd, 1803, after the signing of the treaty purchasing Louisiana from France. First time I say that without too many mess ups. Alright. Alright, so we just got to talk about the flags. Surrounding the door frame are the passages. And alright, now around the door frame are these hieroglyphic like interpretations of the history of Louisiana and what we're supposed to be moving towards. Now, these images are subject to interpretation because they have no words to describe what they're supposed to be depicting. Okay, let's go look at them closer. Alright, this one, because of what I see, I believe is a man harvesting sugarcane. This, a lady picking cotton, most likely a slave giving her dress, and the fact that she's not wearing any shoes. This one, fishing with the nets and all. Lumbering, given that he's sawing a log. See those oil derricks with the man standing above it? I believe this is the oil industry that's being depicted here. These men, well, in the bottom right, you're going to see things dealing with agriculture. Those, I think, are bales above the chickens and the rooster. I think that's a man dealing with revenue. These are some kids at a school being taught something about a globe. I believe that man there standing with a microscope is working on something dealing with medicine, given the the staff with the snake symbol that is often associated with medicine. Alright, but you see the guy next to him with the hammer and chisel? I believe he is working towards, see that column there? Alright. The column is holding up the state's motto, union, justice, and confidence, but also holding it up are the level heads of the judges sitting beneath it. Now, while to the left you'll see the man with the hammer and chisel building a column, but to the right, the last judge, that beam is called a fasces, and it's a bundle of sticks grouped together that's meant to symbolize something like togetherness and unity, but also the togetherness and unity is held in the magistrate's power or hand or whatever to signify his power, that the people are behind him. It's not just one person, it's the people. Anyway, union, justice, and confidence is the state's motto. When the computer finishes unblurring it, you'll see that there are 2 eagles guarding a shield with the image of our state's seal or crest or whatever emblazoned on the shield. Now, here you're going to see, not too much detail because it's being engraved in stone, and actually this isn't even the actual seal, it's an interpretation of the seal. Here's the actual seal. Alright, what this says is that the Louisiana seal. Crests are a main component of official seals and include images that have great meaning. Did you know that Louisiana state's seal and flag feature a crest? Louisiana's crest consists of a nest with 3 pelican chicks and their mother, who has 3 drops of blood on her chest. The mother pelican has torn her own flesh in order to feed her young, a sign of the state's willingness to sacrifice itself for its citizens. The crest is always centered on a field of azure blue, which symbolizes vigilance, truth, and loyalty. Perseverance. Forgive me. Perseverance and justice. The word is perseverance. The state motto, union, justice, and confidence, accompanies the image of the pelicans. Okay. But look at the blood. You see the blood? The blood is never really shown clearly on other images, like badges and seals and different things across the state, because they're usually made out of bronze or different things. But the blood is there. See? Alright. Back to the door. Alright. If you look at the doorway and remember where a few of the images were on the door. Anyway. Alright. If you noticed, sugar, cotton, and fishing were all at the bottom here at the state capitol. And education and healthcare, medicine, something like that, these images are put at the top because I think Huey wanted us to reach for them rather than being content with... Actually, I don't think it's being content with. I think it's a history. I think it's an honest to goodness, agricultural things started at the bottom, and the more industrious, the oil industry, really brought a lot of prosperity to the state. But I think that the people who made this doorway were trying to say that education and healthcare were where we should be trying to invest in, because they're important, more so than the oil industry. Okay, did you know that the state capitol has a mini-me? Not many people know this. This is the state capitol annex building. It was designed to imitate, I believe, to mock, and I'll show you why, the state capitol. Okay, this is the state capitol building. The reason why I say it's a mini-me is because they took many of the design features from inspirations of the state capitol itself and incorporated it into the design. Like, watch. Alright. Basically, it's a smaller state capitol building minus the tower. See? Here are all of the things that they took from the state capitol. Alright, so the purple lines show, if you look to the left, the state capitol has 4 large columns that are on the front of the state capitol building. They're not real columns, they kind of just protrude from the building itself rather than support anything. You can't see them because of the color, but the purple lines show where, and I will later on in the film or whatever, show the columns. Okay, the green lines going at an angle show how there is a centerpiece, but then extending out from the center is a smaller level, like a smaller step that comes from the state capitol. And then the red lines show the left and right wings of the building. Alright, the yellow lines show the door, how the doorway and the 2 windows of the larger state capitol are the main influence for the smaller ones here at the state capitol annex building. See the doorway? See that window? See how there's a, yeah, there we go. The shadow is there, but there are 12 big squares, and then each big square has 8 smaller rectangles within it. See? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4 big squares going down, and then 1, 2, 3 big squares going across. This features also where this, it goes over to the smaller building. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4 going down, 1, 2, 3 across. Alright. You notice this building has sugar. Alright, there. Unlike the state capitol building, these images have one word descriptions to show what the images are supposed to depict. State Capitol did not. The State Capitol would like you to have some kind of interpretation of it for yourself, but this building wants to clearly define what it's showing. Okay. Because the words themselves are kind of small and they're the same color as the sign itself, I have to zoom in. So I'm showing this top 6 now to show what they have at the top. At the top are sugar, fishing, see, fishing, and cotton. Agriculture, the state seal, supporting the motto, union, justice, and confidence. And industry. The bottom 6 are lumbering, revenue, money, and oil. Notice the oil derrick that's kind of faint in the background. It's kind of important, but we'll talk about that later. Oil. At the very bottom, the last 3 are, in this order, hospitalization, social welfare, and education. Why are they at the bottom of the list of Louisiana's priorities? Financial reasons, maybe on paper, but should there be a sign dedicated to keeping hospitalization, social welfare, and education at the bottom? No. A building erected around this sign? No. No, I don't. It's wrong. Now, some would say there's probably going to be some deniability that that's the intent that the sign was trying to, or not the intent, the message that the sign was intending to convey to the public. But there's proof that that is the exact message that this sign was intended to convey. And I'm about to demonstrate the proof. Okay, demonstrating the proof. Actually, it's not all that hard. If you come here to State Capitol Annex, right, as soon as you walk in the door, make a left. You're going to see a fucking, well, there's 2 presentations, display boards rather. One is to the left, the other is to the right behind the security desk thing. This one is the one to the left. Go to the left and you'll be able to see this. Alright, let's go and zoom in. See all the pictures, that main picture at the top, all those pictures. Let's look at the individual pictures though. Alright. Governor Richard Lecce and the State Capitol Annex. Now, I hope to God that his name is Lecce, like milk, Spanish version, milk, whatever. But if not, I humbly beg your forgiveness for mispronouncing this man's name. Anyway, Mr. Governor Lecce, State Capitol Annex. Here we go. The construction of roads, bridges, and public buildings were among Huey Long's most significant achievements as governor and later senator of Louisiana. His most famous addition to the state's built environment was the highly embellished new state capitol. Upon its completion in 1932, Long bragged that his skyscraper was large enough to accommodate all the departments of state government. Ironically, this massive and expensive project was completed during the Great Depression. Although the Public Works Administration, PWA, was established by the federal government in 1933 to aid state and local governments with large-scale public works and construction projects, during its first 3 years of existence, Louisiana received only $1.5 million. This was only 1/15 of 1% of the funds awarded nationwide. Although many Louisiana projects received initial approval from the PWA, they would soon get lost in a swirl of red tape. This was no mere bureaucratic oversight. President Franklin Roosevelt considered the Kingfish a dangerous political rival, and was reluctant to enhance Long's popularity by awarding PWA funds to the state. In fact, Louisiana's receipt of funds was so pitifully small that Long jokingly claimed PWA stood for Preventing Work Anywhere in Louisiana. Now, you'll have to forgive me for the break in passages. I did not design this presentation board. Okay. Following Long's assassination in 1935, Richard Lecce, a judge for the State Court of Appeals emerged from a crowded fields field as the leading Democratic candidate for governor. Lecce was the large, amiable man who referred to himself during the 1936 campaign as 252 pounds of Huey Long candidate. After his election, Lecce moved quickly and decisively to improve relations with the Roosevelt administration. Just before his inauguration, Lecce traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with PWA representatives and was even able to meet with the president himself. Just before his return home, Lecce made the following statement to reporters. While I am not taking home any federal funds in my grip, any federal money in my grip, I am convinced that in the future, Louisiana will get everything from the federal government. I am so sorry. I read faster than I can talk. I'm convinced that in the future, Louisiana will get from the federal government everything the state may reasonably expect. Alright, that's Lecce. Words by Paul English. Now, yeah, whatever. Okay. Some historians claim that this new period of cooperation between Louisiana and the Roosevelt administration came as a result of a political deal. Calling it the Second Louisiana Purchase, Alan Sindler, there should probably be quotation marks around Second Louisiana Purchase. Anyway, Alan Sindler claims that the Roosevelt administration agreed to pour federal relief dollars into the state in exchange for the Lecce administration's guarantee that the state would support Roosevelt in the upcoming Democratic National Convention and in the presidential election to follow. Okay, I curse a lot. I'm not gonna redo this tape unless I curse like a bunch of times. I almost got myself, but yeah, if it's just one curse word, I don't give a shit. But a whole bunch. All right. So anyway, this is what the initial plans called for the building to look like, but this is what actually came out. Yeah, it's different, because he drew it, right? That's part of it, but actually there appears to be something missing about it. I don't know, but there appears to be something missing. Let's take a look. Alright, this is what the State Capitol Annex building looks like today, 2014. This is fucking whatever, 39 or some whatever. Okay, let's compare the initial plans to what is physically here today. You can't see too good, but they have pink arrows at the top. There is a kind of a lime green arrow pointing at some squares at the top. I have a yellow arrows pointing at two medallions near the door. I have a red arrow pointing to the door itself, and also to the right I have a large rectangle with an arrow pointing to it. I'm going to talk to you about all of those things. So here we go. Alright, the heads. These, I know them to be heads. You probably can't look at this. That's a head, but yes, it's a head. I can tell this because the inspiration from this comes from the state capitol. See here? Alright, notice the 4 columns, and then see those heads over there? That's why the people tried to incorporate that into, state capitol annex. But I guess they couldn't afford the shit, so this is what came out. Nothing. Empty spaces. It's a fucking shame. Next we have the other empty spaces. Okay, these are also heads. You can tell this because if you zoom in like I did, you notice that the top of the frame of the inner square is empty, yet the bottom is kind of filled in like shoulders. So the middle between the circle and the bottom would be a neck, and so you have a figure of a man. Now, I can again tell that these are heads because the inspiration comes from the state capitol. See those heads, how they're in between the windows, they're in amongst the windows. That comes from the state capitol. The state capitol has them all the way around it. There's 22 of them. But state capitol doesn't, because I don't know. I'll talk about why it doesn't later in the film, but it doesn't. I just need you to notice the differences right now. I'll tell you why they're there later. So, okay. If you look at the top, though, there are 6 spaces that are filled. What are they filled with? Heads? No. These spaces are empty. They were supposed to be filled. But only the 6 at the top got these little, I guess, magnolias, I hope. But they're supposed to be all around the building. All you got is 6. Anyway, what's next? Those medallions. Let's talk about those. Alright, so if you look at what we have today, to the left you have to the left of the door, where in the place of medallion you have a lady standing in front of a river. I don't understand what they were trying to show. I know exactly where this image comes from, but why they were trying to say, hey, because she looks sad. She really looks sad, like she needs help. To the right of the door is a man. He doesn't have a shirt on, but he's not working either. His hands are closed and close to his body, so maybe he's just hot and chilling. But I do see that big ass oil derrick in the background. I see the oil derrick. Okay, so I'm next about to talk to you about okay, side by side. If you look at the State Capitol Annex buildings, the architect's rendering, initial rendering, and what actually came out, the main difference, what really sticks out to me is, hey, wasn't there like a back half of the building that was supposed to be there? What happened to that? Okay, so before we get to what happened to the back half of the building, let's talk about what the front half looks like. If you look at it, it's kind of a white color or whatever, but I haven't seen it in the sun enough to really say. It's probably limestone though. Okay, look at the state capitol. If you look at it right now, it's like maybe 5 or so, I think. Probably wasn't that late. Probably like, yeah, no, it was like 5. So anyway, notice how the north side is in the shadow while the west side is in the light. Okay. Zoom in. Okay. See how it looks all dark and like gray and dirty over on this side, but over here you can't really see any. There's like a little bit of striations, but you can't really see them because of the material that the building is made out of. Is kind of reflective, or very reflective for a stone. The material was chosen for this very property, I'm certain. Now let's get back to the State Capitol Annex. Oh, the limestone. Okay, the limestone. Alright, so the State Capitol has some. No, the State Capitol Annex building. I wish there was a shorter name. I'm just gonna call it the Annex. The Annex has limestone as well, but for some reason or another, they decided to only put the limestone on the front, which was kind of weird. I wonder why they would, do that. Like, that's cheap, tacky, call it what you will. But you can't be cheap and tacky with a government building. You can be cheap. You can't be cheap and tacky. You can be cheap, but you can't even call it cheap. You gotta call it cost effective or some shit. Anyway. Alright, so limestone on the front. Where the fuck's the limestone on the back? There is a little bit of limestone at the top and then like the edges and the borders. But the back of this building is made out of regular, plain old schoolhouse brick. That's right. Regular fucking bricks. And mortar. Like some plain ass building. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the top. They couldn't even get the same fucking bricks to, to match. Compared to this is a really shabby, tacky building. If it was like a house in the ghetto, it'd be cool or whatever, because it's somebody's fucking house. You don't own that house. It's somebody else's house. Live how they want to live. You don't know what their financial, problems are like. But this ain't nobody's house. This is a building that belongs to the state. So it should be treated like public property. And it shouldn't be fucking... If I was Mr. Lecce, I wouldn't want my name to be associated with that building. But yeah. So the back half of the building, ran out of a good fucking... They probably didn't run out. They probably understood it and decided to build this building like a fucking cheap ass Walmart and have it like a facade in the front and just, fucking aluminum or brick, in this case, shell in the back. Let's talk about why now. Okay. Governor Lecce and President Roosevelt. Governor Lecce met President Roosevelt at the train station and showed him around the city during his visit to New Orleans in April 1937. Their stops included a lunch at Antoine's and an automobile tour of City Park. By 1937, relations between Louisiana and the federal government had warmed considerably. In April, Roosevelt visited New Orleans, and by May of 1937, over $15 million, 15, not 1.5, but 10 times more, $15 million of PWA construction projects were underway in the state. I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened between when Huey was there and now the Lecce at. Something big must have. Anyway, I don't know. I wasn't there. Over $15 million of PWA construction projects were underway in the state. Among the projects Governor Lecce had pushed hardest for were a $3.6 million grant to help build the new Charity Hospital in New Orleans, $300,000 for a state exhibition hall in Shreveport, and $500,000 to pay for half the construction costs of a state capitol annex. Hughes claimed that his skyscraper couldn't contain all the departments of state government, had not stood the test of time. Okay. So, this architect's rendering shows that in the early stages of the design process, several floors of additional floor space were proposed for the real building, like I talked about. That plan, like the one for an underground tunnel that would connect the annex to the state capitol, were abandoned during the design phase, likely due to time and cost constraints. Perspective drawing of the proposed Capitol Annex. Alright. That never made it, but this did make it. This became this. And this became the seal. Now, I understand. The first time I saw this, I didn't catch it. But, what happened to that state of Louisiana part of it? They just dropped that shit. Anyway, this building's cheap. So, plans for this. This got made. Neil and Sumdal, I hope that's how I pronounce it, Neild and Sumdal architect's reports were commissioned to design the state capitol and commissioned to design the Capitol Annex. Their plans echoed the Beaux Arts design and embellishment of the state capitol so that the two buildings complement one another. Beaux Arts is a building style that combines classical motifs like monumental columns with Art Deco embellishment. These intricate architectural drawings attest the level of detail that went into the building's design and construction. These intricate architectural drawings attest to the level of detail that went into the building's design and construction. So this sign here, yep, was made to look like this door here. But if that was the case, then why exactly did they put sugar, cotton, and fishing above things that deal with education and healthcare or medical science? I will talk about this in the next video, but this is not the video to talk about why. But I know. Hospitalization, social welfare, and education. These were placed at the bottom of the list. But like honestly, if you look at this picture here, which is also found in the state capitol, with our healthcare system being dismantled the way it was, this, now honestly, the people who made this drawing thought that this was the way that medicine should have been, helped to the people in the rural areas who couldn't get out to the hospitals. But honestly, if you keep closing the fucking hospitals, this is what we're gonna have to go back to. Okay, now, believe it or not, the police came to stop me from taking pictures of this sign. Now, the state capitol is a national historic landmark. Seriously. Like, pause. So, anyway, Louisiana state capitol became a historic landmark. It was designated a historic landmark on December 12, 1982. I just looked it up, obviously. But, my point was that is, people take pictures at the state capitol all the fucking time. All the time. It's national historic landmarks. What they do at historic landmarks. Okay, so I was laying down on the steps because to get this picture, well, the one, of the state capitol annex, I had to like put the camera on a small tripod so that it wouldn't wobble, because when you zoom in really tight, things get blurred up a whole lot easier because you've just shortened the distance. Anyway, I know why, but you're not gonna get it. We're not talking about fucking light right now. Talk about light later. I love talking about light though. Anyway, the police. All right, so I'm sitting here. All right, I was taking a picture of the sign, and then I was talking to this white lady who was reading a book, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing? What you reading?" She was telling me she was reading a new Game of Thrones book. I was like, "What? Game of Thrones? I love Game of Thrones." And we sat and talked for Game of Thrones and the books about Game of Thrones for about 10, 12 minutes. And then these guys started showing up. And we were still talking as they were pulling up. Now, I'll only show you 2 officers and 2 cars. But only 2 cars were ever present. But 2 additional officers walked up on foot that were actually to my left shoulder as I was taking the pictures. So that's why they're not in the pictures. And they were not like racist dicks. They were probably just investigating. They were really nice to me. I am about to use this one image because this is a really good picture. They told me I could take the pictures of them too. Anyway, they were really nice, but still they were police officers called to see why I was taking pictures of this sign. Now, I had been taking pictures all over the state capitol annex or annex the state capitol complex to include all the buildings nearby around it, the governor's mansion even. Yeah, I was there. I was there. Anyway, after the police told me to get up, or get up. Actually, by the time they were on the scene, I wasn't even on the ground anymore, and they were actually kind of looking for the guy who was on the ground. So I told them that, yeah, that was me. I was the guy on the ground. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm taking pictures of this sign. They asked me, why am I taking pictures of this sign? And I made up some bullshit story about how, like, it looked like the big state capitol, and I just kept, like, pretending as if I was too excited to make complete sentences, and they let me go. But see that guy at the car? And I know that you probably have to do this, but it still seemed kind of dickish. He ran my ID, and there's nothing wrong with running an ID, but if you see that, alright, who says, hey, Mr. Policeman, are you looking for a guy fitting my description? Oh, you are? Here I am. I must not have anything to hide. Then, after explaining to you why, bullshit or not, but I did explain to you why I was taking the pictures. I let you see the camera and the pictures that I took, some of them anyway, the many, as you wanted to see. Yet you still wanted to go and run my ID. Now, the mass public is going to say, well, yeah, you do that to make sure that you're a good guy. No, that is not why they do that. They do that to see if you have warrants so they can take your ass to jail. Yes, you can be a good guy and still have warrants, like for tickets or what have you. But there's a certain level of animosity. See, I don't want to even talk about the police right now. All I want to say is, it seems peculiar that you're stopping the black guy taking pictures, even though it's a national historic landmark, and everyone takes pictures of the state capitol all the time. The tourists come here all the fucking time. Yet you got a problem with me taking pictures. You know what? I'll talk about this later. This is the state police, DPS police, the Capitol Police website. I didn't get the whole page because I really just needed the top part right here. But look at this. So that's what the full screen looks like when it comes up. I zoomed in and just took this part, cropped the rest of it off. I'm gonna read to you the important parts. Placed under the state police, this unit, known as DPS Capitol Police, is responsible for security in and around all state facilities located outside of the state capitol complex. The department also implemented a state-of-the-art communications room equipped with the latest video equipment necessary to monitor the state capitol complex and the Louisiana State Police Headquarters complex. Duties. I won't get into all of them, but for sure provide dignitary protection and to investigate all criminal activity that occurs in and around the two complexes. In and around. Remember that. See this picture here of this guy stopping this lady or whatever? Foreigners won't be able to tell, but if you know the area, I think this is right in front of the governor's mansion. Right as you're pulling, or not in front of the governor's mansion, you just passed the governor's mansion and you're about to get on that bridge headed to the park. That is where this is. So DPS, because you have stopped this person just for the bridge as you're heading to the state capitol, it would appear that around the governor's mansion is probably within your jurisdiction as well, isn't it? Let's talk about that their governor's mansion. Okay, so big ass sign called it says the governor's mansion. All right, this is the I guess it's the east side of the building. I had to, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you what I did, but this is the east side of the building. All right, let's go back to Capitol View Place because it's right around the corner from the governor's mansion. Okay, if you come to Capitol View Place, remember it's at Leesville and Lakewood, I think, Ridgewood or some shit. Leesville and something though. Can't miss it. There's only 2 streets. Anyway, go to the Capitol Place sign. On that same street, if you go all the way straight down, you're going to run into this fence here. Alright? I came here one day, put my bike right there, I climbed up the fence, and I was about to take some pictures of the governor's mansion. Like, you know, Bobby Jindal's backyard. My governor. Okay. The only thing is, I dropped the fucking camera, and I was like kind of like scared and freaked out, like, what the fuck to do? What the fuck to do? And I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I got it. I know what I'm gonna do. Looks like nobody's around. I'm gonna jump the fucking fence. But my inside was like, no, Ronald, don't do it. Don't do it, Ronald. You don't want to go to jail, Ronald. You don't want to go to jail. What do I do? What do I do? So I look down, and I see that, you know what? The camera is within arm's reach. So I stick my hand under the fence, technically, into that man's backyard. That's right. I stuck my hand in the governor's backyard. In his real backyard. I think it's a funny way to say it, so I'm going to say it one more time. I stuck my hand in the governor's backyard. Anyway, so I pick my camera up. Well, I'll take a picture with my cell phone camera, my real camera, and then I pick the camera up, and I'll get back on the fence, and start taking some real pictures. Alright, so this is his backyard, and I just pan to the right. Now, if you notice, like, those shrubs and trees to the far left, the fence is back there behind that red climb up thing shit, but I am further to the left, so I'm way behind the trees, the center of the trees. Anyway, that's at Bobby Jindal's backyard. So to end this, to recap this whole fucking thing, I just want to let the whole fucking world know that if you come here, Capitol View Place, climb this fence, you can take all the cool pictures of Bobby Jindal's backyard that you want to. Zoom in on the house. You can either take pictures of the people not paid to clean up. If you want to, if you really want to be friends with the guy, and trust me, I know him. He likes this kind of stuff. Stick your hand in his backyard. He won't care. He's into that kind of stuff. Trust me. I know. He likes it. But anyway, if you come to this building, State Capitol Annex building, trying to take pictures of this sign so that fucking state and its lawmakers can be aware of the fact that there's a sign that basically says we're going to keep hospitalization, social welfare, and educational programs at the bottom of our list of priorities. If you do that, the police will not only come and mess with you, but they'll think about taking your bike. Thank you so much for watching this. I know it was extremely long. It took a long time to make, though. It took way fucking longer to make. But thank you for watching it. And I honestly, excuse the cursing. Please excuse the cursing. It's me. But I feel like I'm right. I feel like, well, there's more proof, but I can't talk about that stuff just yet because it's slightly inappropriate. But just thank you for watching my video.